Hey everybody, it's Romania Black, and we're on episode 8 of Demon Slayer. Oh my gosh, it's the rule of 8! It's the rule of 8. So, if you've watched my channel, if you've watched any show that has been 11 to 13 episodes long, you know the rule of 8. And that is, in a series that's 11 to 13 episodes, the 8th episode is always a good one. It's always a good, there's just something about it. It's leading into that third act. It's getting to that final act, heading towards the climax, building up to it. It's just, there's something about it. And so I'm really excited about this episode. And yeah, we just had, Gyotaro revealed the brother of Daki. And so he's terrifying. His voice actor is great. And I'm really nervous for our crew because he seems like he's going to be a problem. Just a wee bit. I talked a lot in the last episode, more than I have for the entire series so far, but I still had some notes that as soon as I got done recording, I thought, and I was like, oh, I forgot to say this. And so back in the last episode, it hit me, rewatching when I was editing episode 7, it hit me that in the flashback with Daki from episode 6, the scene of her holding hands with somebody in the straw was probably her brother. And I wonder if the straw was something that was lit on fire, like they were burned alive, something happened there and that's what disfigured them, or that's seemingly disfigured them and killed them, or nearly killed them, and that's when Muzan swooped in and made them demons. I don't know, but it hit me that the hand that Daki's holding in her flashback is the hand of her brother's. I was like, oh, that makes sense. So there's lots of parallels between Tanjiro and Nezuko and Gyotaro and Daki. Lots of parallels, lots of things going on. It's pretty freaky. I got a couple comments before we want to start though. That was one of them with the symbolism there. Cameron noted that Daki's obsession with beauty and ugliness could be tied to her job as an Oiron. And that when she'd been in the job and the position so long as this courtesan, she'd been in that position for so many years that it kind of became ingrained to her as this is the standard of beauty I have to uphold and I have to meet. And so it was she kind of got molded around it. And so that's why she views beauty in such high regard, because it was part of her position that she's played at all these centuries. So that could be tied to it. So I thought that was really cool, Cameron, that you brought that out. But also, going back to episode 6 as well, Harry Typer noted that the mangaka for Demon Slayer said that in the series, humans have two things. They have stamina limits and life limits. And that Tanjiro, when he was about to strike Daki and then was like, he had to breathe, he had reached the end of his life limit and needed to breathe or he would have died. And I was like, okay, that makes a lot more sense. But also, the mangaka said that, quote, if humans could harness the power of hatred and anger in this world, that demons would have disappeared from it long ago. And I kind of like that. I like the idea that you usually think of anger and hatred as being something that you want to avoid because it can lead to things like these demons coming about. But the idea of harnessing the power of it means that you understand it. So if you understand that power, you can better prepare yourself and deal with it. And then there wouldn't be demons because you would understand the hatred and anger and be able to resolve it before it got out of hand and created the situation where a demon would surface. And I was like, that's pretty cool. They also noted that when episode 6 aired, it was the same weekend that Attack on Titan season 4 part 2 aired. And I'm like, wow, back to back. Those of you that watch these two shows back to back, y'all are amazing. I wonder if season 4 part 3 and season 3 of Demon Slayer will air at the same time. That would be interesting. If that were the case, I may have to try to do that too. Or I could value my sanity and not do that. We'll see. We'll see. But I thought, thank you, Harry Typer. Thank you, Cameron. Those two comments were really cool in tying to this. But yeah, I had to ditch my contacts because they've been bothering me the last few days. So I'm wearing my glasses. Hopefully the glare is not too bad. But yeah, I'm pretty darn excited for this episode. I have no clue what to expect, but there's going to be a flashy battle because Tengen's here, Zenitsu and Inosuke are there. Tanjiro ran off to put Nezuko away. She had her fight for the arc. Now she's going to rest. And it's going to be up to our boys and Tengen to finish out this arc. But oh my god, I don't know what to expect. I really like the introduction of Gyotaro. He's creepy. He's gross. I'm all about it. So, I can't wait, but we're not going to waste any more time. We're going to dive right in. So, I hope y'all are excited for this episode as I am. Rule of 8. Let's see if it holds up. So, we're going to start Demon Slayer episode 8, and we're going to do that here in 3, 2, 1, and let's go. Oh, this was great. This was so great. I was so floored by how fast these episodes have gone by so quickly. The action, the pacing of this season has been really, really nice. I liked the first season. When I was watching season 1 of Demon Slayer, I was watching it before starting this channel. I was watching it, I didn't go to any like forums or talk in the comments with anybody. I just watched it on Crunchyroll and that was pretty much it. And my brother and I watched it and we were just like, okay, this is Demon Slayer. So I didn't really see any of the comments or people saying anything about the pacing of season 1. Season 1 has its arcs. And I think season 1 kind of suffers from the multiple arc syndrome with a lot of anime when there's like a 24, 25 episode series. Because to be honest, in most anime and in most stories, your arcs are not 24 episodes long. Usually an arc is like 12 episodes long. And so you have to kind of do highs and lows. And Demon Slayer, when it starts out, has to go through a lot of world building. It has to explain all the deals with the Demon Slayer. So there's like little mini arcs that season 1 has to go through. And I will admit it has its peaks and valleys. And I never really got bored with it. There are a couple episodes I can skip. And like when they visit the Wisteria house and stuff, I'm like, it's fine. And kind of in between. And it does get a little slower pace there. And I think that's where people have some issues with it. But this season has not been like that at all. It kind of like roller coastered its way through the first couple episodes. And I was like, okay, we're going. By the time episode 4 hits though, it's like, oh no, we're serious. And from episode 4 on, it's picked up the ground running and hasn't stopped. So I'm like, oh, so I kind of like that. I like that if we're going to have these seasons and they're going to be like 12 episode seasons, they're like this and it's just nonstop action. I'm like, I can do that. I'm like, I hope season 3 is like same run of the mill, but episode 8 didn't let me down. This one was great. Ufotable, what are you doing? The animation and the action and choreography and the speed and everything. The battle itself was so high paced. It was beautifully animated. And we got some world building stuff with Tengen. Death flags are out. Our boy Tengen, he's going to die. He's going to die, isn't he? He's going to die. We had the flag. Anytime you see the ghost of a former character that's died, it's like, that's red flag number 1. Saying about Rengoku's ghost in the ED there. He's been poisoned. Don't like that. I feel like they're going to kill the 2 demons, but he's going to die too. And it's gonna suck. It's like, no, we've built up this character and now he's gonna die. It's like these Hashira, they're getting built up and they're just dropping like flies. I'm like, Giri, you better not die. I like him. He's like one of my favorites. I don't want him to die. No. So, but Tengen's got death flags out. I don't want the wives to die. That's the thing. I don't want them to die. But I don't know if they're gonna make it out alive or if all 4 of them are gonna die. I don't know. But these 2, God, the voice actor for Gyutaro, he is amazing. I love his voice acting. It's just like the way he makes his voice vibrate and like sounds like E.T. It just vibrates and sounds alien and just gross. It's so good. It's like, it's just off-putting. It's a very off-putting voice, and it's not funny off-putting. It's like, ew, off-putting. Like, you just kind of feel slimy with it. And him being compared to a praying mantis. I love it. I love that he's got the praying mantis vibe, and she's like a worm. Inosuke, the worm woman. I like it. I can't believe that Tanjiro put Nezuko in the box and he brought her back with him. I really thought Tanjiro was going to leave her, like, away. But the way that this battle could go right now, it's probably better that she is with him, because then if something happens and the whole town gets destroyed, she's with him. But at the same time, he's carrying her on his back as he's fighting, right? Or did he put her, I'm going to look and see if he put her down when he started fighting, or if he had her with him. I think he put her down, like, where the battle was taking place at. But I'm like, ugh. I love the little soft, sincere look that he gives his sister. Then when he puts her in the box, he's like, just sleep tight. It's like, you just nearly obliterated a demon, but sit tight, Nezuko. It's like, ah! So, yeah, let's skip this OP here. God, Tengen. In this episode, it's so good. So we get a lot of just subtext with Gyutaro and Daki here about their, like, saying their backstory without explicitly saying their backstory. And you can see God from the first panel of the poison spreading in his system. Damn it. The thing about it is that Tengen always has this like wide-eyed, dead stare look, kind of like Rengoku's mom. He doesn't have like pupils in his eyes. It's just this dead-eyed stare. So you never really know what his character is thinking. You can't really tell. That's the problem. It's like, is he scared? Is he contemplative? Is he angry? Is he fearful? We don't know. You can't tell. It's like just gets like the dead-eyed shark stare, and you don't really exactly know. And so he's like, you're different. You're not like any of the other Hashira I've killed. And he's killed 15, and his sister's killed 7. So they've killed 22 Hashira together. That's pretty terrifying. You must have been special since the day you were born. So that we start to get into like a little bit of their characters, like when he says you were born special, and it's like clearly the two of them do not think of themselves as that, right? Saying a chosen talent, right? That makes me jealous. So it's like, yeah, they're both envious because they didn't grow up with any blessings or anything. They grew up like with a shitty life, right? And Tengen's like, talent. And then I like the guy Taro's like, he says, do I look like somebody with any talent? Oh, he says, if someone like me gives that impression, you are really living a blessed life. So he just throws it right back at him, saying, nah, don't confuse me with someone else. I love the guy Taro, his face falls. And he's like, he's like, basically, Tengen's like, you guys are you've been shut in this world too long. You have no clue what's out there. You're like, I'm not special. There's people way beyond me outside these borders. He's like, you all have no idea. You're just, a bunch of shut-ins, country bumpkins. And that pisses them off. He's like, oh, I know. He's like, you have no clue because you've not been outside the country. You've not been allowed. Basically saying you haven't been allowed by Muzan to go. And so he says, there's people out there that would blow your minds. So then we go to the priest-like Hashira, who's a complete enigma, according to him. Yeah, he just seems super sincere, but like really confusing. And then he says, the mist one, he says, some that can take up a sword and become a Hashira in 2 months. So in 60 days, the mist Hashira, the guy who's like super aloof and absent-minded and like seems the most chill out of all of them, he became a Hashira in 2 months. Say what? He seems kind of like Zenitsu. Like not Zenitsu's like wild, frantic attitude, but like when Zenitsu's asleep. He seems like Zenitsu when he's asleep. Like he's super serious and like chill and in control. I'm interested in him now, the Mist Hashira. I'm interested in him. He's like, me, chosen? He's like, don't give me that crap. How many lives have I let slip through my fingers until now? So then we get Tengen's backstory in this where he's like, no, it's been my fault so many people have died. I can't be like Rengoku. That's red flag number 1. I was like, you're gonna be like Rengoku, so I don't like that. Nope. We're gonna take a photo of that because I really like that juxtaposition of him. I like that we have Rengoku all illuminated like he is, and Tengen's in the shadows because he's a ninja, so it makes sense. And meanwhile, I love when Gaitaro, he gets angry, his teeth grind, he's like, it's like a bug. It's so creepy. He's like, well then how do you explain how you're so good? He's like, my blood sickles are drenched with deadly poison, and yet you simply refuse to die. So that's probably how he's killed most of the Hashira, is they've all been poisoned and they've died from it. Yep. And he's like, well, I come from a line of shinobi. I've become resistant, so poison doesn't work on me, even though it does. Yeah. And she's like, well, the shinobi were wiped out in Edo period, so that can't be true. And he's like, no, it's not a lie. And so he's like, they do exist. So we get this image of all the different shinobi, and they have all the headbands, and they're different headbands. But he says, I had 9 brothers and sisters. And then the image of them with the kunai and just them all sliced to ribbons and them just all like paper. It looks like paper being cut, but then from the paper comes all this blood. It's very gory and graphic, but without being overly. He's like, 7 of them died by the time I was 15. And so the clan panics. And his father, like a man possessed, submitted him and his brother to brutal training, who were to his younger brother. And I love this. I love that him and his brother like rise up from the blood, and we see they have similar eyes. He's like, my brother was like my father. His subordinates were pawns, and his wives were expendable as long as they produced heirs. So that's probably why Tengen doesn't have any children, because he doesn't want to be like his brother who just has wives just so they can have kids for him. He's like, no, I want my wives to survive. No one else had ever any say. Resolutely indifferent. And I didn't want to become like him. So I like that. I like that he was like, I didn't want to just have a bunch of kids just to produce for the clan. He's like, I love my wives, but I don't want that to be the only purpose. I want them. They're not expendable to me. I love them more than anything. So that's so good. That explains like Tengen. He's like, I want to be, and it explains why he's so flashy, because ninjas aren't supposed to be flashy. They're ninjas. They're supposed to be secretive and in the shadows. And Tengen kind of represents the exact opposite of that, right? Okay. And so we see him under the tree next to the master of the house. Yeah. And the curse hasn't spread to all of his eyes and blinded him yet. He still has his eyesight. He's so handsome though. He says, it's hard, isn't it? So this is interesting. It says the path you've chosen. And so then I was going to say how many beads he has. He has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. I was going to see if maybe the beads on his headband represented anything. He does have, I think, 6 or 7 jewels on his headband. So maybe that represents the 7 brothers and sisters he lost. And then we see the wives and everything sitting there. And he looks so in shock. He says, rejecting the values that shape you, that were instilled in you during your childhood. So he's like, you're basically, by joining the Demon Slayer Corps and become a Hashira, you're going against everything that you've been taught since childhood. You're resisting everything you've been brought up with to lead you to this path. But it also suggests that he, the master, has done the same thing. So that's interesting. I like it. He says, even as you place yourself on the battlefield, that is surely agonizing. Carrying all that conflict and quandaries inside yourself. And you still persist moving forward and battling on. Isn't that right? So you can protect other people's lives. I love that shot of him. Like, he looks so, like, just in awe of the master. Yeah. Oh, I love it. I love that shot of him. I want to get the picture of it. And then the shot of him, when he looks over, he says, thank you. You're quite a remarkable child. Suggesting, like, how old is this guy? And then Tengen's like, I'm the one who should be grateful. And I love that transition back from him, like, from him saying for the master, I'd never think twice about laying down my life. I love that transitions from him being smiling in that moment to him, like, going back to reality. Yeah, but that poison is spreading. And he's starting to sweat too and breathing harder. It's not good. Those who have baggage like conflict or quandaries are spineless fools. He's like, that's always been the story of my life. So he's like, I've pushed all that aside. He's like, I don't have conflict. I move past it. I move beyond it. I don't let it bog me down. But yeah, he's getting tired. And I love that as Guy Toro notices that, his eyeballs are like quivering and he's like, oh, you're a liar. He's like, you've been affected by the poison. It's so creepy when he smiles and laughs about it. Slowly but surely. Yeah. I don't like that at all. Claiming that didn't work was just bravado. Yeah, he's just like with that creepy smile. And so then he's like, no, it has no effect on me. Like, he's like, I'm not going to let you bring me down. Want to see me dance? Oh my God. Like, he's just like pushing beyond it. The battle scenes in this episode are so well done. I absolutely love them. And then him just kicking the snot out of Daki. And he's like, don't you dare kick my little sister. It's the battle between them. So him figuring out that in order to kill them, he has to decapitate both of them at the same time. That's where it gets hard. Because he brings out a really good point. He's like, if you two are stronger together, it would make sense that... If you two are stronger together, it would make sense you'd stay together. You wouldn't split apart, right? If you two were stronger. that way, but that's not the case. He's like, the point is that you had to be decapitated, and that's where the trouble is. When you separate, it makes it harder to do, especially if a Hashira was by themselves. Yeah, if a Hashira was by themselves and the two of them split up and she's able to use the belt to weave in and out, it would be virtually impossible to kill them both at the same time. You almost need an army of demon slayers to do that. But the problem is when you get a whole group of people together, it can be easy to throw people in front of others and use them as shields, and it can get chaotic. And so it's this delicate balance of finding out a way to utilize the group you have, but also having that group to do it. And I love when he uses the sword and he has them connected together by a chain and he extends it like a lance. Oh, it's so good. What kind of insane grip does he have? Oh, it's great. That shot. And it just nicks him. God, and Tengen with that pose. Oh, it's great. I freaking love it. I botched the chance to finish this one off. And she's like, I keep getting decapitated. He keeps beheading me. I was like, oh my God. Yeah, she's like, why am I always getting beheaded? Like it's happened before, right? And then Gyataro, you're on to us, aren't you? Yeah, he's like, you figured it out, didn't you? And he's like, about what? And then, yeah, he's like, it doesn't do any good because you're going to die a slow death from the poison and we can outlast you. We can run away long enough. I let him scratching his face, and we see Tanjiro like come up, and Tanjiro has the ear scratches from Nezuko, and then Gyataro scratches in the same place. Oh, it's creepy. It's so creepy. But yeah, everybody makes a flashy entrance. Tanjiro still has the box on his back. And so everybody is like, it's crazy because there's people leaving, like all of the visitors are leaving the city, but the people that work there, they're staying behind because it's like their livelihoods are in that city. If they leave, where do they go? That's their home. They're like, they can't just run away. So it's interesting to see them all just sitting there on the ground being like, what do we do? And then so meanwhile, the wives are trying to like lure everybody else away, except for the one wife. She was supposed to stay put because she's injured, but she was like, nope, gonna go help my husband because he's in danger. And so then, yeah, the two of them working and Tanjiro trying to figure all this out. I love the look. He's like, you can summon as many underlings as you want, but there's no blissful future waiting for you. And so Tanjiro's trying to get his wits about him, and then him realizing that Tengen is poisoned. And Tengen's like, I'm fine, don't worry about me. And the second red flag is the fact that Tanjiro looks up to Tengen and sees Rengoku in Tengen's place. He's like, this seems all too familiar. It's like deja vu, right? It does seem like that, and I don't like it. He's like, don't underestimate humans. Oh, Tengen. Like, Tengen is so good in this episode, talking about them all with their relentless grit. And Inosuke's like, we do have relentless grit. And I've come to really like Inosuke in this season. Inosuke in this season, he's kind of won me over. He annoyed me a lot in the first season, I think because he was so feral. But he's come a long way since season 1 through Mugen Train in this season. I really like him. Zenitsu's been asleep half this season. But it's fine. But I really like Inosuke. He's grown on me. He's like, I know how to bring you down. And then, yeah, Tanjiro. I do love that this show has Tanjiro just staring at Tengen like, oh my God, I don't want this to be the same end result as it was with Rengoku when we faced the last upper demon. He's like, I don't want that same result. It's like, nope. Like, just that resolve. He's like, otherwise there'd be no reason to disperse rather than assimilate your weaker sister into yourself. Easy peasy, you two. Yeah, and he's like, it's that simple. I like the idea that it's a simple solution. You just have to behead them at the same time. Simple does not equate to easy because they can separate. She's got the obi belt that can like become blades. He's got the blood sickles and the poison. It's not simple. No. And he's like, all those demon slayers perished because they couldn't do that simple thing. Yeah. I love that as he's saying it, he's still scratching himself. It's like, ugh, so gross. It's like not even the Hashira. 15 for me and 7 for my sister. Ugh. Mm-mm. Yeah, not one of them lived to see daybreak. And they talk about like the long nights. And I like that we see Zenitsu like stepping and sleeping as she's monologuing. It's like, uh-huh. And then Zenitsu steps in with the thunder. Yep. Ah, God. And then from here on, it just gets great. Like the action and everything. It's wonderful. The colors. Ufotable. They can animate the hell out of a colorful battle. It's flashy indeed. Tengen would be proud of the flashiness of this battle. Oh, and I love that Tengen, him sleep talking and asking him, he's like, you need to apologize to the girl that you made her ear bleed. And she's like, what? It's like, you need to apologize to her. And she's like, you're ugly. Why do you speak to me as if you're equal to me? And then Daki has this monologue moment where she talks about in the city, women are merchandise. Like, which this whole monologue, it's like, okay, is it really about Daki and how she's experienced her role as an Oiron for the last century or so? Or is this tying back to before she was a demon, when she was a human, when she talks about women as merchandise? Like, was she sold into slavery? Was she like sold into prostitution? She's sold, bought, and destroyed. The owner is free to do with them as she chooses. So as she chooses? So is she saying that she was taken in, like sold to a family, kind of like what happened with Tanjiro and Inosuke and Zenitsu at the beginning of this season, but she was like, ugly people have no right to eat any meals? Was she bought into a house like this and then destroyed? She's like, the inept shouldn't be treated as humans. So she was bought probably by a family, and then Gaitaro was probably her brother, and they were separated, and then they got back together. But in the process, she was like abused by whoever purchased her, or whatever family she was sold to abused her. Because you have that beautiful butterfly in the cage, and then as she says, the inept shouldn't be treated as humans, the butterfly lights on fire and dies. And we saw the fire in the last episode for her flashback. So it's like we get little bits and pieces of her flashback, and we, the audience, can piece it together what's happened, even though it's not been spelled out for us yet. Yeah, I love that. The visualization of that's perfect. And Zenitsu's like, you shouldn't do the same horrible things that others were done to you. Yeah, treat others as you'd like to be treated, right? Do unto others as you'd like done to yourself. She's like, no. She's like, the horrible things. I love that as they're talking, as they're saying the horrible things done to us that made us suffer, it's his and her voice combined. It's like they harmonize in that moment as one. Like both of them have been made to suffer. We don't know Gaitaro's story. We don't know what he suffered or how he suffered. I'm assuming it has something to do with starvation because he's all skin and bones. But it has something to do with them both suffering. And so they just want revenge. Like that, as demons, they just want revenge on the world for treating them poorly. It's like, we can never make up for our own misfortune unless we collect it from the blessed. So yeah, they're just, you can tell that Muzan went to them and was like, I'll make you a demon so you can get revenge on the world. And you guys have so much hatred and bloodlust in your heart that you'll become these great demons because you're not going to be afraid to kill humans because you hate humans because they treated you so poorly. And they can target those they consider to be blessed with what they were not. Interesting. So yeah. So, I mean, it all makes sense. And then I love that we have like the third eye. It's very shonen, battle shonen. You got the third eye that Gaitaro gives her one of his eyes so that he can help her see, because he doesn't need it. He's got the blood sickles. And then Tanjiro, we cut back to him and he's like, are you afraid? The bloodlust, is the bloodlust making you afraid? Or is it just because you're fatigued? And he's like, no. He's like, I gotta focus. I'm up against an upper 6 demon. He's like, I've got to get a hold of myself. Uzui's been poisoned. He's like, I can't be a liability. I have to protect him. Strike with your sword the instant he moves. Well, the instant he moves, it's crazy. The second he moves even an inch, in that instant, and he's there. He's just there. It's like in no time at all. It's insanity. And that tension, because you know he's going to dodge it, but the tension as the blade gets close because you know it could poison him. Like, the way that Ufotable made that, not in slow motion, but it gave it weight. That scene, that moment had weight to it. It just felt thick. It was like, it was so well done. Oh, it was so well done. He's like bend backwards and he makes himself bend over. Oh my God. It's crazy. He's like, I can't match their movements. I was like, well, if you put Nezuko down, maybe you could move a little faster, but he's not going to do that. No, not our boy. And then the belts and everything, like Ufotable. What in the world? Like, this was just insanity. And so I love that Daki's up there screaming like, this is my true power. And Inosuke's like, quit screeching. The fact that Inosuke is telling her to quit screeching is hilarious. He's like, stop being so loud. I'm like, oh my God. It's great. It's great. He's like, these guys aren't really your underlings. You guys are so out of sync. It's not even funny. Oh my God. And then Tengen, with the sound and everything. And so, it's beautiful. But he's getting like sliced all over. Like, that poison's just going to keep spreading to those limbs where he's been sliced. It's not good. It's not good at all. And just the CGI and the animation, this was just absolutely gorgeous. Like, the way that they do the movements, it's so quick and seamless and smooth. God, Ufotable. It feels like a movie. The quality, I will say this. When I was watching Mugen Train, I was worried that the quality would be like super amped up because it was a movie, but it felt like an extended TV show, which makes sense because they converted it into an anime afterwards. But the thing about this series is that everything looks cinematic. Like, the quality of the animation looks like it could be a movie. Except it's just 20-minute episodes. I'm always amazed at what they have here. It's so good. But yeah, and the sound, I love that shot. So Tanjiro realizes, he's like, the sun breathing is for offense, but he's like, I can use water breathing for defense. Good on you for figuring that out. And that's how he keeps the blades at bay. And I love that transition of Tanjiro over to Tengen, and they're back to back. That transition's so perfect. It reminds me of the OP. It's so well done. And then the sound breathing when he does that. Oh, and it's all in blue. Oh God, that shot's so good. It's really good. It's really good. It's great string performance. And it's so flashy. There's fireworks. It's like Tengen is the flashiest fighter, and I kind of love it. And then he's like, you just got some noisy moves. And so, yeah, everything is insanity at this point. And Zenitsu and them, I love it, ties back to the OP, Inosuke and Zenitsu flying through the blades and everything. It looks exactly like the OP. It's great. But at this point, most of the OP has been shown to us. From here on in, from episodes 9, 10, and 11, it's going to be No Man's Land, which, yay. Yay! Fun times. But I do like in this, Inosuke is referencing that his instincts are letting him sense the blades and the attacks, and that's how he's dodging them so well. And apparently when Zenitsu's asleep, his instincts are really good, so it's fine. He's like, I can't get near that worm woman. Oh my gosh. These blades are big trouble. Just a scratch could be deadly, my body's telling me. It's like, yeah, you got good instincts there, Inosuke. It's all works out. But man, And so Tengen realizes that Tanjiro is at his limits. He's like, I have to take care of this so he's not wiped out. I'm like, oh my God, like just the battle between them. And Tanjiro, he's so worn out that he's basically tied his hand to the sword so he can't let go. It's like, oh, Tanjiro. It's just not good. And then that's when the wife showed up. And I was honestly worried when she showed up. I was like, this does not bode well because she's there. She's putting herself in a precarious situation. But she fires those kunai. And a lot of them hit Tengen, but Tengen's like, I'm already poisoned. They're not going to hurt me. They maybe only affect demons. They keep demons from regenerating. And then, yeah, he just shows up. But that one's in his face. That one's in Tengen's face. No. I don't like it. He's like, he's a shinobi, not a swordsman. He has otherworldly senses. Yeah, And he slices his legs off. Everything in this moment points to him being killed. Like, it points to him without the legs regenerating. He has the thing in his neck so that maybe if his head gets cut off, it can't regenerate. So maybe that's how they do it. I don't know. The next episode is called Defeating an Upper Level Demon. He's like something extracted from Wisteria. So something in the Wisteria keeps him from regenerating. That makes sense, right? And then Tengen showing up to slice his neck. And it's like, but he's like, not too shabby. Starting to get into sync in such a short time. It's pretty amusing. Oh, I love that. Just that his hair flowing, Gaitaro's. And then he's going to get that eye back. I feel like he's going to get the eye back from his sister. And that's going to let him dodge somehow. I can't believe the episode ended there, though. How dare it? I can't believe it just ends right there. That's like the worst cliffhanger ever. It's the worst cliffhanger. I don't know if I'm going to be able to wait. I may wait until episode 7 and 8 come out. I may wait for that and then see if there's any comments and then go from there to watch episode 9. But I'm definitely not waiting a week. No. No, not at all. But dang it. That's insanity. Or I guess episode 7 and episode 6. But yeah, so fun times. So yeah, this episode was really, really good, but it went by way too quickly. So I am very curious to know your thoughts down below. You all thought this episode, it was gorgeous. Death flags are out for Tengen. I'm not liking it. I feel like the episode leaves you hanging thinking that Gaitaro is dead, but then that's not it. Gaitaro has to be killed the same time as the sister. So when we have 3 episodes left, so it's surely not the end, but what's going to happen? I don't know. So I'm curious to know your thoughts down below, but this episode was great, and now I'm really excited to see what happens in episode 9. So in the meantime, I hope you all have a wonderful week. Please stay safe, take care, and yeah, I'll be back very soon with episode 9 of Demon Slayer Season 2.